your students from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, they helped you with all that. And what do you think the greatest lesson they learned from all that?
Ooh, I don't know. You might have to talk to one of my former students for this. Um, I hope that there's a number of things. One is that exposing yourself deliberately to underserved populations is a good kick in the ass. It really does help you remember that many people who are not designers, who are not fortunate enough to kind of go to grad school, for instance, go through their lives not maybe realizing that they're already doing design. You could argue that many of the parents have already designed their experience for the kids as best as they can, they just don't have the training. So by being exposed to those populations, there's actually an enormous amount of inherent knowledge and content that these parents, teachers, lunch ladies, the cafeteria janitor, for instance, are experts already in their field. So by being exposed to them, I think there's a shared respect for folks who aren't maybe trained in design and realize, you know what, they actually do a lot of, they're already doing a lot of things that you could argue is design, in as much as they've intentfully designed, they've intentfully created systems for a particular kind of outcome. It may be clumsy, it may be a little kludgy, but they're doing their very best with the resources that they have. One other thing I think as well that's pretty important is that the idea of doing deep-seated empathetic research allows a design student to have a much richer understanding of what and how they should respond. So one of the things as the process goes is that by being empathetic to the population you're serving, you can design things that fit into their lives as opposed to be oppressed on top of it. I think that there's a pervasive notion that a designer is this holder of all the keys and that they are gifting some sort of design upon the population. There's like almost a notion of a missionary type of style of, I have all the answers, I'm going to be bringing civilization to you, which I think is actually quite insulting. The way that we go about treating our populations is that they are actually quite often the experts, and that we're merely trying to catch up, and that in our contribution to them, we want to maybe adapt the behaviors that are happening as opposed to creating new ones. So when we intervene and provide a new tool, a system, a piece of paper, a poster, a piece of injection molded plastic, whatever it may be, we're merely trying to fit into the lives that are already pretty complex. So one of the ways in which we try to integrate is to use behavioral prototyping. So that's, I think, something that Manu and some of my students may not have tried before, which is that we provide a system and framework for testing out these theories that we have around new behavior. And we can do a lot of that upfront work at ourselves, by ourselves in our classroom. So that protocol we talked about, the food service protocol, entire team worked on that exclusively, just in our own studio. And they prototyped it many times and worked out many games. Then they tried it in a different cafeteria setting, again with adults. And then finally did a full-blown test at the school with kids. So in each round, they're slowly learning what ideas or what particular aspects of what process, what particular parts of that process work and don't work, as a series of dress rehearsals. We're constantly trying to get to a point where we are confident enough that what we provide will work in the context that we're designing for, as opposed to some sort of out-of-context lab. So I think for my students, one of the things we really wanted to impart upon them is being empathetic, having a process for building sympathetic responses, and then behaviorally prototyping those ideas until we have an ability for our ideas to really integrate into that community.
That's brilliant.